Hello. Is this phone number by any chance Henry's wife's number? You go by Sandy, right? Hello? Do you have any idea what's happened with Henry? As far as I'm aware, Henry went to a class reunion for one of his classes back in middle school, right? So he's gone back to his hometown for it. Well, I happen to be one of his longtime friends and was in the same class as him in middle school. You can call me Emily. It's a really cute name, right? Your name is Emily? Well, I guess it's cute. But to be honest with you, I know hundreds of Emilys, and I'm not really sure the name itself is that cute. What a buzzkill! So, Emily, when are you going to get on with telling me why you're wanting to talk with me right now? Huh? I'm going to assume that you are talking to me right now because you took my phone number from his phone and copied it into yours. I happen to know Henry pretty well, and I'm sure he wouldn't just be handing out my information to you and ask you to text me. So can you please just tell me why you want to talk? For some reason, I'm getting a bad vibe from you. Well, whatever. I'll tell you what I want from you right now then. And it's nothing that I really want from you, but rather what I want to tell you about me. I've gone and taken your husband home from the class reunion. Huh? What are you going on about? You have no idea. In other words, I'm having a little after party with him in this hotel room. That's all. Huh? Listen to this. At first, I was looking to take a completely different man away from that reunion to make my lover, you know? But that dick was with another old fart of a woman, and when I came over to talk to him, she began to bark in my face. Ugh. At that point, I was about to give up and thought me going to that reunion was going to be completely pointless. But as I was thinking that, I turned to see my old friend Henry. All that nasty skin he had on his face before, covered in all these little red pimples, had cleared right up and he was looking sexy. And as for those stupid little round glasses that he was wearing before, they'd been replaced by a stylish pair of brown J-bands. And his choice of clothing? Oh, perfect. Totally stylish. I knew this would be my only chance to see him, and so I made him my new target and started my hunt. And within a few hours, I had him in my grasp coming to this hotel with me. And during that time, did you know about the fact that Henry is married? I knew that, and I learned about it while bringing him to the hotel room. Actually, I've known about the fact that he's been married for a while now, as I still talk to his parents every so often. Anyway, I haven't seen Henry in over 7 years because he and I are just never around one another. And anytime I'm talking to his mom or dad, he's not in town. So you've done all of this while knowing he's married? I really wanted him to be with me, so I had no other choice. When I told him that he's my first love, he began to cry about how much he wanted to treat me nicely and hugged me as we walked to the hotel. And why are you telling me all of this now? Knowing very well that I'm his wife and that I have been married to him for a while now. You know why I'm telling you about this. There's only one thing I'd want, and that's for you and Henry to get a divorce. And then you can hand him over to me so that I can have him forever. You want me to give him to you? You already stole him from me. How could I hand something over to you, or someone, when you've already gone and stole them from me? I just told you, though. He's always loved me, and even though I told him he's my first love, he came out and said he had this huge crush on me back in school. In other words, that means he and I are meant for one another. And that also means that he's always been mine, so I didn't steal him from you. Now that we've run into one another again, and I'm with him now, I'd like you to give him back. So hurry up and get that divorce so I can have him. I guess if he's always had that crush on you, then he was never mine to begin with. So I get what you're wanting to say here. Now, I never really knew about how he looked back in the day, but these days Henry is doing pretty good for himself. He happens to work for a very large company that is partners with other companies all over the globe. I'm sure you already knew about that, though, as well. And about how he's expected to be bringing in around $100,000 a year now with his job. Well, of course, all of that only adds to how amazing he is. And that's why I'm in love with him. And he's in love with me because I'm cute and precious to him. No mistaking that. So, that means he has no need for you anymore. As long as you go through with a divorce, then everything about him will come to me, and I can finally have my man. So hurry it up and get that divorce, please. I'll give you an answer to that after I've had a conversation with Henry about all of this. He said he'd be coming home tomorrow, so I'll sit him down and have a talk with him. Please let him know that, since you're actually right there with him. Will do. But I already know that Henry wants this divorce, so no matter what you try to do, he's going to leave. Henry, right about now you should be back home from your hometown, right? Where are you?
I'm at Emily's apartment.
Is that right? So it's true then? That you ended up running into your old friend from middle school that you always had a crush on and she took you to a hotel last night?
I'm sorry.
So I can take this as you saying you want to get a divorce then?
Yeah.
You have anything else to say to me? Anything at all?
Well, when it comes to you, Sandy, you really are an amazing woman. You say that you can do anything and everything on your own, and that's no lie. You really are able to do everything. So, for myself, well, you happen to support me with both my work and with my private life equally. I'm totally thankful that you've always been there for me helping out, and I want you to know that, but when it comes to the person who knows me best and knows how to please me the most, I'd have to say it's Emily. Also, when it came to her, she's always been in love with me ever since middle school. And, she just confessed that to me yesterday at the class reunion.
I see. So the reason you and her ended up being in that hotel room yesterday and why you're over at her apartment now is because you both have liked each other since middle school?
So, I want you to know that whether it was back in middle school or even now, I've always been thinking about Emily, and I've always wanted her to be my wife.
All right, I understand. But just because of that reasoning, I don't think we can get a divorce.
Why not?
Even if you and her ended up having a wonderful night with one another, this is a good example of you being unfaithful to me. So I can't just have this settled with a simple divorce. I'm going to make sure I have you and her pay your dues to me through settlements for this, and I'd like to tell both my parents about this, and yours.
Well, actually, I was planning on doing the same thing.
One other thing. Since the both of us are working for the same company in the same office, I'm going to have to report what's happened to us to my manager. And I think you should be doing the same then.
Ah, that's right.
I think that you should be prepared to have a lot of people giving you the side eye and things like that after they hear about what you've done.
I guess there's no helping any of that, is there? All right.
Now I'm going to get myself a lawyer and we will sit down and discuss what needs to be done and go through all the paperwork. Once I've had time to talk with my lawyer about all of this and about the money that I can get from both you and Emily, then I'll go ahead and contact you again. Along with that, I'll hand in the divorce paperwork to the courthouse.
All right.
Sandy, thank you so much for getting that divorce with Henry. And by the way, I only just found out about this a little bit ago, but you happen to be 6 years older than Henry, and you work in a higher position than him with that company? That's right. I first met him when he joined the company, as I was in charge of training him, and after some time we grew closer to one another and got married. Well then, you're aware that he's in a much better place now being with someone like me rather than with some old fart like you. And as for yourself, now that you've been divorced by a younger man, that pretty much means that that's it for you, and you'll never be with another man again, right? But don't worry. I'll make sure that Henry is very happy with me and that you are kept up to date on that. Just make sure you don't get super jealous of us, all right? I'm not going to mind you sending me a text about how you feel as though you've come out on top over me. But shouldn't you be a bit more concerned about what's been going on with him? Huh? Oh, no way. Are you going to try and say to me that you know more about Henry than his longtime friend does? Well, I'm sorry, Sandy. I just got home from handing in our marriage papers to the courthouse with him, so this pretty much means game over for you. You've barely even been around him recently, and you're already jumping to marriage? You both haven't seen one another for 7 years, and you thought it was all right to just marry him like that? Are you both going to be okay? I feel like you two should have at least taken a bit more time to get to know one another again. Come on now. You're not going to ever get him back from me, so stop holding on to these feelings. Your time is up, you old fart. He's thrown you away for a much more cute and young girl, and he'd never turn around and go back to you. Hello? What do you want now? What the hell is going on here? What do you mean by here? I'm talking about Henry. What is all of this? Why the hell is this happening? Can you explain what's going on there in a little more detail? Why is he sleeping in so much? His alarm had gone off 4 times before he finally got up and started getting ready for work. And he didn't even bother to wash his face or shave. His hair is still a mess from the pillow, and he's just going to head to work like that? Also, why the hell is he farting so much all the dang time? And when it comes to his work clothes, he just takes them off and leaves them on the floor. Same thing goes for his dishes. He doesn't even bother to turn off the lights either when he leaves a room. And after using the bathroom, he doesn't flush the toilet. And what's worse than any of this? He doesn't even have a good sense of fashion. What the hell happened to the man I saw at the middle school reunion a while ago? Oh no, this is all happening a lot quicker than I was expecting. Huh? What do you mean? He already had problems when in the house with me, never having manners that you'd think an adult his age should have. But at work, he tends to be just as bad, never wearing proper clothing for the job and always farting really loudly in his cubicle. I'm going to assume that he never took his clothing chart with him over to your place? Or that he isn't even bothering to look at it anymore now that he's with you? His clothing chart? It's this whole grid that tells him what shirts go with what pants and about what ties to wear and what jackets. What? Was that all written down inside that sketchbook he had brought along with him to my place? That's the one. I'm sure you already know about how much of a slob he is when it comes to his manners, since you've known him far longer than I have. But he's especially bad when it comes to his sense of fashion, and that's why we had a chart made up for him. I made this whole chart for him that would tell him what clothes to go with what and what days to wear that set on. What? So then, that means that the man I saw at the reunion... You always said it like he had done that by himself, but in reality, I was the one that got him dressed up like that and made him look more appealing. What the hell? You are more than welcome to use that chart with him to maintain a good look on him that otherwise he will never create by himself alone. But I threw it away. Really? Anything that I thought had to do with you, I threw in the trash can outside, and that includes the clothing chart you made for him, along with some of the clothing I thought you bought for him. All right then, so you're saying that you no longer have any of the things that helped him look as good as he once did. Sandy, please, can you please get Henry back to the handsome-looking man he was before he came over to my apartment? Well, that happens to be your job now, since you are his wife and all. As you had told me before, you happen to know him way better than I do, having been around him since middle school, and so I'm sure you'd be far better at helping him out than I am. Right? Well, about that. Can I at least have you buy him a few more sets of clothing and make up another clothing chart? That's not going to happen. Why not? I am not going to take care of the man who ran off with another girl who asked me to divorce him after. I'm no longer related to anything that has to do with him, but I know someone who is, and that's you, Emily. And another thing, 2 weeks ago I made the choice to transfer. Transfer? Recently, I was promoted from department manager into a regional manager, and so I have a change of responsibilities now. So, you were moved to a different location? Yep, I'm very thankful for that as well. Thankful for the divorce, I mean. Because I no longer had to be married to Henry, I was free to do as I pleased, which includes moving to another town. What? So because I'm no longer working in the same office building, I've moved out of that town and am about 2.5-hour drive away. And because I'm now a regional manager, I have even less time to worry about what's going on in the lives of two strangers. No way. The way Henry is right now, if he doesn't change, I'm not going to be happy. Well, if that's the case, then he might need his new wife to start working on some strategies that'll help him get back to the man she loved him as. Good luck with that. A few days after that, due to no longer having me around to support his bad habits, Henry started to have a lot of problems with HR at work due to his poor style and manners. And only a few days after he had been talked to by HR, he and Emily got a divorce. Apparently, the only way the divorce worked out was because Emily had to force him into signing the papers, after he had cried and cried about how he couldn't live without her. Due to the reality that the girl he had always loved since middle school turned her back on him and kicked him out of her life, only a little bit after getting married, Henry has gotten very depressed. And because of this, he never left his place and soon lost his job. When it comes to Emily, she wasn't working at the time she took Henry from me, and so after kicking him out, she no longer had the money to pay her rent, and ran back home to her parents looking for help. But they both told her to get out of their faces as they had disowned her not too long ago. She was last seen running away from her hometown for good, and ever since then, nobody has heard a thing about her.